Hello, my fellow partially plucked nose hairs. I'm Mr. Church, and today we're going to be building a camp right here near Vault 96. And this is actually going to be like a private vault, and I've done something like this before at a smaller scale, but I wanted to think about what it would look like if there was like a rich family living there. And you may recognize this area. I built a camp here before. It was very funny. You should check it out if you haven't seen it. It's like a little mole rat camp thing. But anyway, the reason why I found that spot in the first place was I was wanting to build off this cliffside in the ground. And so I came back here, and we're going to try that today. Now, to get under the map, which we're going to do a lot for this build, you want to make something like this. Now, instead of the spore plant, you can use the alien stasis bed or the symptomatic or something like that. I'm not showing how to do this right here. It's just drop merge down. If you need to see that, I will link a video where I build that in. I've done it a lot before, and I'm trying to conserve time by not showing that in this video because this is already going to be much longer than your father. So we're going to try to, just show important things like building this ramp here in case you didn't know how to place those down, or these foundations here, which I also think if you didn't see it, how would you know how I got them there? So it's about showing you stuff that I think you're going to need to see in order to figure out how to do it, and not showing you stuff that would be obvious and redundant, okay? I hope you can understand the way that I've gone about it. So this is just so we can get this kind of in a good spacing away from the cliff, and also get these foundations over there. I'm going to leave this foundation over here by the cliff side, so in case I accidentally delete the ones over here or have to move them, I'll have that anchor point to come back to that exact spot. Now we're going to place a stair going down. Everything we build below ground is going to be connected to that staircase. That's going to be the support of the structure, and so it's important that we have that in a spot we want it. And I'm going to switch it to the mining ramp so that it looks more natural there. And it won't really look like stairs going down anymore. It'll look kind of like just a little, little porch stair or something like that. And the pieces we have over here are going to be like a driveway. But that'll be obvious once we get building what I'm trying to do here. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take some upper floors and I'm going to snap over. Because I want to have staircases holding up this structure over to the side. And that way, if I choose to not use the staircases in the structure, I can hide them behind walls. The beauty of building under the map is you only need to worry about interior space, and you don't need to worry about what it looks like on the outside. So, if you really enjoy interior decoration, but you're having a hard time with like structures and stuff, this can be an easy way to make a really cool build that you don't have to worry about getting outside to match the glory of your interior decor skills, which we all know you have. So this is an option that you can do. Also, I want to be very careful about how I phrase that. I don't want you to think that I'm making fun of you, of course. I know that some people got deeply offended last video the last build video, because I did say something about someone building a camp on White Springs, and they thought I must have been talking about them. Also, yeah, by the way, this is what's underneath that chunk of dirt. I don't want to give spoilers, but if you do the quest lines, you'll know what this is and why it's here. But yeah, when I built the mole rat thing last time I was building in this location, I didn't actually realize that's what it was, and a lot of you guys pointed out to me in the comments. So when I came back here and I'm building under the map, I was like, let's incorporate that into the build, and luckily you can actually snap right through it, at least through this bottom part. You can't snap through like where there are actual teeth on the top of it. So we're able to use some of that for part of the build, and I'm going to make that kind of the boiler room of the build down here. And when I'm building, I'm testing that corner to see if it's out of bounds or not. Right now I'm building this massive platform, and I'm going to be reducing this in size somewhat as I go, because when you're building at large scale like this, you want to be very careful about budget. Okay, so just as we build kind of going back and deleting some stuff. And right here I was making sure the walls could snap through that, because I didn't want to end up, you know, not being able to close that in. And so also I'm going to have the way in and out of here, we're going to drop down from about here. I'm going to not use that exact spore plant, but we're going to use a spore plant to get in. And I'm going to create an elevator shaft underneath it. So when you drop down in, you come down an elevator shaft. It'll hopefully give that illusion, so that the transition from above the ground to under the ground won't be, you know, quite as weird. It'll still be weird, but hopefully it'll be a little more immersive than what we usually see with under the map builds, which I'm talking about my own stuff at this point, okay? Listen, I'm a little defensive, and also let's move this over so that we can have a little bit more room. Because I want to have enough space on this side. Don't worry about that. On this side of the big window that I added, so move the elevator shaft location. That's for my own planning, why I put that mesh floor there. And we can move those stairs over by one. Now to do this, you can't remove these stairs because they're holding everything we're standing on up. So we're going to expand this that way. And as you can see, I won't be able to move that. But if I add stairs in, then I'll be able to move these stairs. Now these stairs are holding everything we're building up, but I'm not going to have them be part of the build. I'm going to have them walled off so you don't see that. And that's why I want to shove them over that way more, just so we have a little bit more room to work with here. And so no one's going to see any of that stuff. It's going to be hidden by the build. And we're just going to, you know, figure out where stuff is. I'm going to use these half windows, even though it's double the budget. You know, obviously that looks way better than the single place greenhouse walls, which have that trim along the bottom. And also you can snap right through these rocks, but you do want to test this out before you go too nutty on your build, because some stuff under the map just won't let you work through it. Now I want you to pay close attention to how that rock actually looks right there. See how it's all like dark and like has no texture. That's something to note for later. I'll come back to that, but I won't remember to. So that's going to be an uncomfortable loose end to tie up. Don't worry about it. Anyway. So, yeah, I don't want to say anything negative about, you know, someone maybe barf building on like the White Springs golf course. So I'm not going to talk about that, because someone thought I don't understand. It was like, I know you weren't talking about me, but then why were you so defensive about it? You know, it just kind of made me think maybe I was talking about you and you didn't like it. And that's okay. Like, if you think that a good use of your time is helping my videos out by commenting to tell me that I'm being rude for making a joke about my own builds, then I guess the best course of action is to just let you, you know, sit back and let it go. But yeah, look at that dark. See how that looks like kind of fucked up? Also, did you notice I wasn't able to snap a wall in back there because of the teeth on top of the mother load, I think it's called. That's an issue, and I'll have to resolve that. But I want to make this area in here just be this massive vaulted room, okay? And I don't mean that as a pun, because it is a vault as well. But so I was kind of inspired by thinking about like the Hornwright and Garahan mansions, how, you know, you can tell that they're very rich, and I was thinking to myself, what would someone like that live in if they lived in a personal private vault rather than trying to get into like a vault 76 or 96 or whatever. So I was thinking that when I built this, and hopefully when you see the final look at the end, it'll give that vibe. Some of this stuff you're gonna double wall again. You'll know this if you've been building a while or watched the channel. To double wall things, you just need to use doorways, and they have to be specific doorway types. The corrugated wall, the barn wall, the you know, a lot of that stuff. Contemporary wall set. Some walls don't work. A lot of the new ones don't work, so you can always just replace them back to whatever you want. As you can see, I was going to do double walls up here, and then I realized I can't get a wall in behind where those teeth are, So let's make the boiler room shorter, and it also will save us budget because that's one fewer layers of wall to build. And anytime you're building at this level, you want to constantly be thinking to yourself, how can I save and conserve budget? Because at the end of the day, that's the more space you have to fill, the more empty your build is going to look. Because if you're struggling with budget, usually the best thing you can do is downsize. Make your build smaller so that you can really fill that space. There are some tricks you can do to kind of make it look full, but it's really difficult to build massive structures and have them look lived in and filled and finished instead of just like an empty box. Now here I was able to happily discover that I'm unable to place certain walls because of the upper floor above them. And I did try from different angles. Now, a note that should be important for me to say is if you're under the map, you can't use free cam mode. It shoves the camera to the top of the area. See, it will turn green, but it won't go in. So you can't even use free cam mode, and that's something that will be a little bit annoying here and there as you build. But as you can see, that's an issue. I even tried mesh, because sometimes mesh is a little more forgiving. But no, it was green, but green means you can't build there. Obviously, that's what the error code means. So obviously, it's intersecting with an upper floor, which it's all about build order. This game needs you to build in a specific order, or it craps its pants and bitches at you for no reason. And that's just because the game sometimes is dookie. I don't understand why that would, it's fine. I wouldn't worry about it. Now, at this point of the game, obviously, it goes in perfectly now. But I want to also add that there's a point later on where I have to move these stairs over again. And so you'll see as you watch the tutorial. If you're wanting to build this yourself, maybe this would be a good time to also do that step instead of building those stairs a second time. You have to do that anytime you need to remove them, because otherwise you don't have support for the structure. Obviously, you can't have floating items in your camp, only floating items that are being held up by literally nothing. That's fine. But try to avoid any semblance of geometry, physics, or anything like that in your builds. Try to have floating foundations and things like that. Don't worry about the orientation of the floors. Also, don't worry about the lighting down here. It can be kind of weird. So also I'm gonna make these mesh just for a little bit, no reason. There's no reason for doing that. Don't worry about doing that. But this is a basic like big chunk area, and again, take note of these rocks because it looks kind of weird with the lighting on it. And one nice thing is these roofs will just snap right through the mesh floor, so that's completely hidden. And we don't have to require more space. And then for the middle area, I'm going to do the greenhouse roof. And part of that is because the lighting under the map is really weird. And there's some like squares of light, which are a little uncomfortable. And they make me feel like I need to tickle an ostrich in the night. Now, if you're wondering what the fuck that meant, I wouldn't actually worry about it. Some stuff is better left unsaid, like everything so far in the video, so I do apologize for that, but as you know, I am only gonna do one take. Why bother editing a video or, trying to make good content when you can just do one thing, not worry about it, and just shove it out the door. It's ready to go. It's all about craftsmanship and quality here on the channel. I don't want you guys to think that I'm just half-assing this, because I'm not. This took some time, week, to even build the whole structure here. So I'm not really sure what I don't know, but the lighting is weird, and there's like a hard line there. And it's really quite bad, and some times of the day it's worse, like at night where I'm building now. Now, we're going to obviously turn these to normal walls because this is our home. We don't need 400 doors. This isn't the Colosseum in Athens. So you don't have to worry about that. This is the step I was talking about before, where you want to, you're going to have to remove those stairs to put the roof in. And the reason for that is because Todd Howard has a big eel instead of a brain. Now, that's true. I'm not, it's not an insult. I want you guys to be very clear on that one. It's like if you were to open up the skull and look in, you know how there's like a squiggly goo pile? Well, that's actually a big eel. And that eel is the reason why 76 is in the state it's in. Now, Double 11 is doing their level best to fix what's been set down here. But when you get an erection, when every time you think of spaceships, and you, instead of using your valuable time and resources to fix a game that had a rough launch, and then you instead want us to blast off like Buzz Lightyear, maybe, there is some frustration in the community there. So one thing we could look at maybe is how in the build, when you know how you're building your camp, and there's all these restrictions you don't need to have that make the game worse and don't add to it in any way. And you know how you can like have less restrictions? That's something to think about. Also, if you start lagging out in build mode, sometimes it's because there's like notifications, pop-up notifications on the screen that are waiting to happen, and they won't happen until you leave build menu. So sometimes you can leave build menu, let your score thing do its thing, or let your team thing update, or whatever needs to happen, or it just is lagging out because, it just needs a break. Sometimes we all need a break, so that's something that you can do, is just leave build menu. And it's optional if you want to go back into build menu after that. I wouldn't, but like if you're in the middle of something, maybe you can try it just this one last time. Anyway, back to Todd Howard's eel. So I'm not sure why like certain things need support and certain things need this or that. Like upper floors, they need support. You can't build them without them. I don't get that. Let's get rid of that, because we were going to have this double walled originally. Again, keep a very clear track of your budget, because any wasted double wall that's one wall you didn't need to build. That's one item you could have done. So that's something to keep in mind as you build. That's too high, so don't worry about building that up anymore for right now. That's going to be the elevator shaft where we drop in again. As I said, this hallway will lead down here, and then probably this room will be the bedroom. And I might reduce this in size to save budget, and then I'll probably put like some crafting benches in the boiler room. Now, I'm going to go up this way, finish filling that in. You do actually need to put that wall in before you put that the roof in. If you put the roof in above that first, it'll actually intersect. I'm not sure why. I'm using these ranch house roofs that for some reason can snap into each other for that nice drywall look above. And again, I decided this is just going to be one layer, and that's again to save budget. Here wasn't letting me. I actually go back through here and just do one wall later. I was able to do that by changing some of the stuff, the roofs and things. And that also saves budget. Now, these can all be normal walls. And when I say normal, I just mean don't make them a doorway, and we're going to change these out to other stuff later. And I wouldn't concern yourself too much about that. There is some, trees sticking through just one time, but that's, again, just to be cute. We're now in the bedroom, and I'm reducing it in size as prophesied in the 3rd chapter of Psalms. And this is actually not the psalm about, that one. I don't want to talk about it too much, but there is a psalm about my painful disease in my loins, and that's not the one I'm talking about. Okay, so get your mind out of the gutter or out of the book of Deuteronomy. Whichever one is making you have fewer interactions in a social setting that seem to be, effective and good. Up here, it's time, I think, to get the way in established. No, it's not. Let's look at the wall. Now this down here, and don't worry about the actual design of what's going on, because I'm going to go through here and switch the walls and the floors and the wallpapers and all that. But what I'm trying to do here is show why we can't use this wall for this down here, because it's got that stupid trim along the top. And that's horrific. And the reason why I want to use it is the outside of this wall is that really cool cinder block look, which I want to use in some of these back rooms to remind people that we're under the map. So the illusion is that we're underground. See, if I remove this, we've got that really nice, like, basement-y feel, which I want. But we can't do that on those walls because in the great room, they're gonna have that lip along the top. I don't know why they did that, and they don't just give us a clean look. It's okay in the hallway, I think. But for these ones, I'm just going to have to do something basic. And I'm going to do something like this with the cement wall. That way, I don't need to double wall it here. So that saves me a couple pieces of budget. And then I don't get the lip. There's still concrete in there. And then for this is in the bedroom, just changing some of that stuff out. And then I want to have the concrete on this wall too. So to do that, we're just going to flip these walls around. So you have to have a temporary floor in there, and then just flip it around, and you'll be able to delete that because it's technically still being held up by the floor here. Get these out of the way. I'm never washing my clothes again. And you can actually smell that to confirm the veracity of that statement. So that's something that to keep in mind is the stench that is stenching in this world. Now, I'm going around the back side here, flipping that around. Obviously, you can actually see what I'm doing, so I don't need to tell you that, because that would be condescending. Now, over here, I have, that's above the, the bedroom and the hallways and stuff. This is where we're going to come into the house. So I want to drop down into this elevator shaft, and to do this, I want to have a spore plant that sticks up through the ground, but that is hidden somewhat, because I don't want it to be obvious that it's down here. I want it to be a little secret, a little bit of a special surprise if you do find it. And so what we're going to do is I'm actually going to build it on top of this contraption, which is it's just a flipper board trap. That's what they're called. And that's on top of this conduit, which will extend it out into space so I can hover it over the hole. And what that's going to do is when I destroy it, that's going to disappear, so there's no intersection issues. And I'm going to place something down above ground. You can actually test it. So I want to get the top of that spore plant high enough so that it's barely peeking out of the dirt when it's all said and done. So what I'm doing is I'm placing it on stuff. I'm walking up this stair slightly just to see, from the side view what it looks like. And then I'm coming back below, eating a bunch of chips and changing things around. Now, I don't know if you guys snack while you build. I actually don't. That was a complete lie. If I have food in front of me, it lays there forgotten. And in fact, I don't remember to go to the bathroom or to eat or anything. It's just there. There's flies buzzing around landing on my eyeballs as I hyperfixate with this undiagnosed ADHD. But their end result is so yummy. Now, when it's where you want it, you can flip the flipboard trap. That disappears. And then you can put this down. This is going to be like a garage thing, like a storage area. And I'm going to make it look like this is going to be like a more rundown above ground area. So if people come to your camp, they're going to see this. It's going to be filled with junk. You're not going to really see that spore plant. I'm going to kind of hide it. And then that they're going to be like, oh, that's the whole camp. That's cool. Where's your vending machine? I don't care about all the work you spent building your camp. I just want to see if you have any 2mm ammo for sale, because I want it so bad. That's great. Glad that I was able to fast travel here, look at your camp for 2 seconds, and leave. That's not something that personally upsets me. It's just I've seen it happen before, and, objectively speaking, makes me feel good about myself and the hours I spent on this. So anyway, what we're going to do is put that back. I'm going to test it out to make sure it actually works. I was a little afraid of this idea not working. I was afraid that it wouldn't let me interact with a spore plant because it's literally in like a foundation thing, but it lets me interact with it. It gobbles me up and spits me out, just like the YouTube algorithm. And then I can fall down into the elevator shaft, which obviously is not looking super good right now. And I just realized that I'm rumbly in my tumbly. Does that have anything to do with the build? No, but I am starving to death. What do you guys eat? Because I'm like thinking about food now, and it's kind of ruining the build video that I'm trying to make, but that's fine. I think if that wasn't happening, like the build would be, things would, let's not get bogged down with any of the stuff that I just said. In fact, if there's a way that you could go back in time and delete what I said from human memory, well, what I could do, now hear me out, because I am in charge of, have the control here to like stop recording, and then I can go back and say something different. I can edit the video. Now, what this is going to do is create better content that people can watch, but it's time to move on from that. Don't worry about it. I think you're spending too much time thinking about that. Instead, let's build the driveway. I want to put this car sunken down into the driveway because it's up on cinder blocks, and I want it to look like we drove in, went below, and no one saw us again. So I want to get this so that it's on this like middle area. I want to line it up really well. And then what we're going to do is use the foundation merge to sink it into the foundation. So get it where you want it, and you can spend all the time that you want doing this. I don't really care. It's your time. So use it as wisely as you always have, Just make sure that that is the support for it. So that wasn't the support for it. So just get it so that it's like this. Now I want to show you there is order of operations again for how you do stuff here, because once we sink it down, there's going to be some intersecting issues with the other foundations that we have there. So it'll intersect with both of the front and back, but I think first I'll just show how to drop merge it down, and then we can worry about the issues later. In this one, you don't want to be in free cam 4. You want to stand really close to the edge of the foundation that you're trying to merge something into, and you want to get as close as you can, and then you want to grab it and look down. You'll know you have it when it doesn't turn red. If it turns red when you do it, keep trying. Now you can use, if you're on mouse, the mouse wheel, or you can use the bumpers or R1, L1 while you're holding X or whatever the action button is on Xbox to slide it up and down, and I'm just doing that to get rid of. Now see, it is red because the car is intersecting with the foundations that are here already. And you'll notice that if I try to put a snap of floor in here, it's also not going to even snap because that car is in the way. If I were to blow the car up, which I will now demonstrate with an explosive device that I got from the special Abby's Bunker quest. It's the fun. You can blow it up. Careful, this actually does blow up, and it does damage and break stuff in your camp, so, maybe do it away from your camp and away from you, unless you have some kind of self-harm tendencies, which could explain why you're playing Fallout 76 in the first place. And you'll see that even when it's blown up, I can't snap it in place, but I can snap a foundation to it, which means I need to get the foundation with a car on it in and then snap the other ones to it. And the issue with that is this one is half buried and this one's holding up the entire house. So it's not a big deal, obviously. That's something that you can work with. For this one, in order to get a piece in, you'd want to put a foundation here, but it's red. It's in the ground, so I can't snap to even get it in. That one's too low, so we're going to have to remove those. And so you may wonder how you're going to do that. Well, you can use these catwalks. They'll snap through the ground. So we're going to use that to get this over here. And most of building in 76 is just problem-solving issues that you're making up as you go. And now, normally, you're not actually able to remove this, but you can in this case because there is a foundation connected to that foundation that we removed. And I'll show that in more detail. But normally, if you have stairs connected to a foundation, you have to delete the stairs first, and obviously those stairs are holding up everything that we have built. But I'll show that in more detail once we get this in. You'll be able to use this to snap this into place, and then, of course, we're able to take our foundations and just snap them in there. Normally, I'm worried about orientation when I'm placing stuff like this down, but in this case, we're keeping that concrete because it's just the driveway, so that doesn't even matter. Just get that in place, and then we can get rid of this with all the catwalks attached, and now we have, again, I can remove this because there's an extra foundation attached to it. This one here. If that was in here, you would not be able to remove that foundation. It would say that your object needs support. And I'll demonstrate what I'm talking about really quick, but normally stairs, if they're held up by foundations, you can't delete the foundation that's holding it up. But if the stairs are going down into the ground and there's a second foundation there, you can. And this is the same exact mechanic as the foundation stairs. So if you have foundation stairs connected like this, you can actually remove this if there's a second foundation. If there's not, you can't remove it. But if there is, then you can. So it's the same exact thing. I didn't really realize that was a thing until I was doing this. So it actually saved me a lot of time. And I was relieved. It was a miracle of God, and he speaks in many special ways, usually, with curses and cancer and all that, and then, of course, disease and famine. But in this case, it worked out okay, and I was fine, because that's basically all I wanted to get done in my life. So I'm using this Pegasus weapons workbench because I want a weapons workbench, first of all, but I also want to bury this space. I don't want people to be able to walk around in here because it makes it easier for them to find that thing. So I'm putting everything that I would want in this little area, and I'm just gonna push it in there. Now, I logged in after a Tuesday update, and I found that when I tried to leave from under the map, it was a rubber banding me back under the map again, which is really weird. I've never seen this before, and it was consistently happening through, different servers and different situations. I would try jumping off, because that'll place you above the ground normally if you jump off, and that was placing me above the ground, and then I would rubber band immediately back down underneath the map. So I made a quick fix for that, and of course this was upsetting because I designed the whole structure around how the game worked. And so I had another way of leaving, which I'll show later, already planned out. And this means I'm going to have to fly up in the skeleton of my build and then use this ghoul chair to get above the ground. But they did reverse it, or whatever they fucked up, they unfucked up, because then it's working fine since then. But I left the ghoul chair there and the demonstration of where I put it in case it happens again. You guys might have an idea of a way to get out of there if it's happening. I'm going to make a quick little coffee table that I thought was, enough to waste your valuable time to show you how I did it. And that's because I have a lot of respect for you as a person, and I know that you really don't have that much going on. So why not spend a little bit more of it looking at that? What could be worse? Better. Also, in the kitchen, which I did have some kind of horrific Va-Maria time with, I tried using these new special modern home counters. And of course, those things are trash to work with. But I want to shove Bob into the wall because he's way too big and I want him to be part of the kitchen. So to do that, I turn the wall into that kind of wall, which does that when it breaks, which is awesome because you can shove stuff through it. And then I built this back here so that Bob will have some support, otherwise he hangs off too far. And now I can shove this through the wall here and have Bob in the kitchen, but, maybe not his meat hanging down. And if you guys, but before I do that, I forgot to say, this modern home cabinet has to go in first. Now, obviously, I can turn snapping on and off, because you know how you might want to not have it snap to anything and be unplaceable? Why is that an option? Why is that an option? Why can I toggle snapping off for something that only snaps to the wall? What does that do? It doesn't, then you can't place it at all. Then you can't place it in your camp! Okay, sorry. Also, try not to Michael Strahan these too much when you're placing them down, because if you want to like adjust them slightly, then you know then you can't. Because even if you were able to move it and it didn't stay red, also if you remove the wallpaper, it removes everything you just built, and then you have to do it again. So don't do that. And I did that on purpose to show what would happen if you did it. I already knew that would happen. And I wanted to show what would happen if you did that. I didn't do it it wasn't an accident. I didn't scream in rage and break my controller in half and do it again after 45 minutes. I chose, as part of the educational experience of this build, to do that, to demonstrate on this day in this video how to get around that slight issue that you could have. Now I'm just going to line this up here using that thing on the floor, then you can repair the wall. Everything comes back except for your feelings of well-being and your stable mental health. That's gone forever. You're not seeing that again. But I will say, if you want to put more counter space in, you have to burn Bob again. Bob has a massive health bar, more than the Mirelurk Kings of days gone by, so you might need a couple burns. But this one was fine because he was basically a bitch and died immediately. But this counter doesn't go in, and this is the basic mechanics of the game as well, something that applies to a lot of stuff. Something that will be red if you try to put it in a thing will snap into a thing. So keep that in mind. This is the finished product, though. After just a few weeks of, working tirelessly at it, and definitely spending all my time doing it, I was able to arrive at this cool little bunker feeling. You've got that stuff. I did put the undetonated bomb in that mole hole, and that's more to show the comedic size of it, because it's way too small. Anyway, you come in here, and I piled up stuff in the back there. You can see that it's just like full to the, stuff to the wrappers. And I have all the stuff that I would use, like scrap boxes and punch card machines and stuff like that. Even my little derby machine thing is back there in case I want to level up, ammo box, everything. And then you can squeeze down in there without having to jump, because then you might accidentally interact with that Pegasus Weapons Workbench. Why do I have to say the full name? Because I wanted to. And then you just use this, and then you fall down in here. You've got the elevator, which I have, a little light thing. We just open the door to get out. And I tried to have these wallpapers kind of demonstrate, that it was like the inside of the shaft. And then you have that rim from that wall kind of dividing that space, which I thought looked pretty cool. And then I have a special carpet for the elevator, and then, of course, close that. And then this here, I got this idea from Vapid Valentine. I'll link the video where she has this in, but it's very cool. It's just the radiation glove box, but when you have it on the other side of the wall here, which is what I did, I also hid my little ice cooler thing in here because I need to have it in my camp, and I don't really need to interact with it. I hid that back in there as well. But you just put that there and then change it to a full wall, and there you have it. It's pretty easy. And then you have this little kind of a dank basement-y feeling, and so I hoped I got those vibes going on. But let's look at the build now. As we come in here, you can kind of see that I got the inspiration from those mansions, and then I wanted to have like this cozy, maybe eccentric, maybe a little Art Deco vibes here and there, maybe a little like, someone's really rich and they don't really know what to do with their money. But there's these little lived-in elements like this and the little cards, stuff like that, as well as like the moving of things like the fire in the fireplace. Anything that you can do like that adds a lot of life to a build, especially something that's massive. I thought this was also a cool idea. It's kind of reminiscent of how there's like that big plane in one of those mansions. They just have a spacesuit. You know, why wouldn't you? You have millions of dollars. Why not have a spacesuit? This is just the alien stasis bed, and I drop merged fire down into it, and I shoved it into the wall by making the wall a doorway and shoving that back there. And then those on the sides are like two bed things that I think were a free first item or something like that. I'm not sure. I sunk that egg down by one click just because it was like kind of balancing precariously. Precariously is incorrect. But I really, really like how it ended up looking. Like, it feels the way that I wanted it to. And that is in large part because Vapid Valentine vibe check. And I'll talk about that in a minute. Let's look at the kitchen a little bit first, because this was also something that V helped me kind of reorganize and set up in a better way. She came in and she saw, you know, what I was trying to do. And she's like, oh, honey, no. She didn't say that, but you could feel... No, I'm just kidding. It was actually a massive help because I knew what I wanted to build and I knew what the vibes wanted to be. And I did do like a lot of this stuff. But, you know, just a little tweak here and there, a little bit of a lighting change here and there, moving something here and there, you know, changing a wall, you know, wallpaper here, moving a vine there. Little details make a massive difference when you're trying to decorate. And V is one of the best decorators in the game. So it's kind of OP. I can just call in an airstrike and then she fixes. Oh my god, there's a draft! And but yeah, I really like how this room ended up turning out. It is exactly the vibe I wanted, with that big open window, kind of like, it's kind of like you're cozy, but you're also with a massive view. And also, this is double roofs with a glass on the top, and I wanted that to kind of close the kitchen in a little bit, but I didn't want to use all that space above it, mostly because of budget issues. And I also didn't know what to put up there. If you look away from this, you see trees blinking out of existence, which is pretty interesting. Some things come and go, and you never know when they're going to be here or not. And it makes you wonder, you know. So, you know, you try to enjoy what you have at the time. Now, in here, I thought the theater door was like a kind of a cool workshop-y door while still being like clean and neat enough for the interior space. But I have a fusion generator. You can see where I shoved that power armor display. And then we have like, you know, some exercise bikes, maybe a little utility thing. And then I was able to put all the crafting benches that I don't have upstairs in here. So I actually have everything I need in this camp. And then this, to get that different texture in the corner, is actually a different roof piece, because this is what's normally done, and then I have that corner piece there, which has a different underside, and that helps break up the repeated pattern here. And it doesn't matter what it looks like above, because that's again outside of the map. And that's one of the nice things you can do when you're building under the ground, is you just focus on the interior space. So it's kind of like building in a shelter, but you still have crippling restrictions that make everything impossible and make you rip your hair out, even though you already have a balding issue. You don't, but maybe you do, and your shimmering bald spot is brighter than the fucking lights that they don't ever adjust, even though they wash out everything in sight. These cracks in the walls, that's just a thing that happens in the game. Now, in here is the bedroom. I went with a completely different vibe and a completely different feeling, and part of that was motivated by the lighting that I mentioned earlier. See, there's a big stark line in the lighting. See the difference on the wall there? And I do have the vines here to try to kind of blend that so it's not as obvious. And I also changed half of the roof, and I changed the floor texture. But to do that wall, I just did exactly what I did in there, where it's the outside of that one wall. So I just flipped it. You can see, again, one of those cracks I was talking about. That just happens in your builds, and there's nothing you can do about them. That's always been a thing in the game. And over here, there's like, you know, just kind of rustic vibes, kind of cozy, kind of library-ish. And there's a chair there. Why is there a chair there? That fourth chair, I just saw it now as I'm doing this voiceover. So that's good. Glad that I was able to walk in there physically with my pixelated body and not even see it. while I'm recording, but now I see it now. Well, thanks a lot. Who did that? I didn't put it there, I can tell you that. And you know who was in here? You know who was in my camp? Vapid Valentine. Why'd you put a chair in there? I don't actually know if she did that or not, but one thing she did do was, remember how I talked about how that rock had that dark, like it looked like it had no texture in it? And see how it has this nice glow now, and you can actually see the definition? That was V's idea, and what it actually is, if I'll stop jiggling about to and fro. Stop it! Stop it! Stop it! Look at the rock, and why? Because I thought I was about to look at the rock, and then I went back here. Guys, I have no control over my own body. There's no possible way that I can fix this in the editing room. There's no editing room. That's part of the problem. But yeah, she had an idea to put a light in there, and that completely brought that texture to the surface. I didn't even know you could fix that if it was missing a texture. So that is a subway light, and wow, the relief I feel after a big blue ball of not looking at that light when I needed to. And now we have. But she also helped me figure out that strip of wallpaper and those chairs and stuff like that. And to, you know, just the little details actually make a massive difference. And it was kind of busy, and now, you know, it's not. It looks, I think, pretty good. I'm actually really proud of this build. And also, if you guys aren't subscribed to Vapid Valentine, I'm going to link her channel as well to check out, because she makes phenomenal builds. And I happen to know she's got a couple doozies that are about to come out. So keep an eye on those. Also, this is the exit. Okay, I have it locked because I think, like, if you're not, you know, on the team, you deserve to be stuck in my house forever. There's that undersized bomb, hilarious, pretty stupid actually. Maybe we could make it bigger. But anyway, I just want to say, like, a massive thank you to my patrons and channel members for your support. I mean, like, you guys have supported me through very infrequent uploads, and, you know, a lot of weird stuff going on. You know, there was that incident with the parakeet, and there was like a big rooster that was running around naked. I don't know if that had anything to do with things happening the way it was. There will not be as frequent uploads in the month of October, maybe, but maybe there will be. And I just want to give you guys a heads up. I'm good. I'm just working on some in real life stuff. But in the meantime, you guys can join the Discord, follow me on Twitch. I'll be streaming here and there. And thank you guys so much for watching. Thanks for all the support. It means so much to me, genuinely. And I'll see you guys in the next video.